Hope people join. Right, we'll just let them start flooding in.
If not, just like us three just having a chat. Just talk about it.
It'll still be fun.
To me.
Right, lovely. We'll just give it a couple more seconds. Let people join in. Okay, I think we're okay. What we're doing on this one. So hello everyone. We're officially launching our first LinkedIn Live. So welcome. Obviously it's a new system, so bear with us. We're just getting to grips with it all, but hopefully you can all see us. So I'll begin. So welcome everyone. Thank you for attending today's live. First of all, I'm Becca from the One Group. Lovely to meet you all. And I'd like to introduce Leanne, our marketing manager at the One Group. Hi Leanne, how are you?
I'm good, thanks Becca. How are you?
Good, thank you. And on my right, I have our expert guest, which is Karina Scott from Girl About Social. Hi, Karina, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? Happy Tuesday. Thank you for having me.
Happy Tuesday. Good, thank you. So obviously this is our first LinkedIn Live, and who better to have than Karina as our first guest? A little bit of background. So we met Karina in September at the marketing meetup in Northampton. Shout out to them. If you don't know, then do get to know. But me and Leanne just loved what Karina had to say. So we just had to invite her on to our first LinkedIn Live to talk us through how to up your social game on LinkedIn. But first of all, before we dive in, we'd just like to get Leanne to introduce you to the One Group and what we can do to help you with your recruitment needs.
Thank you, Becca. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know who we are, the One Group is a specialist recruitment agency. And as this LinkedIn Live is about LinkedIn and social media, I figured that the majority of you are going to be marketing professionals like myself. And we have a marketing division at the One Group, which is specialist in that sector. So they are very much aware of all the candidates in the marketing field in their areas and all the clients that might be looking for new marketing professionals to join their team and grow their team. So if you are looking for a new job or to get on the marketing career or to grow your team with the next top talent, then our recruitment specialists are the people to get in contact with. We're based in Northamptonshire, Cambridgeshire and Hertfordshire as well, but we also work in the surrounding areas. So if you do need any help, please get in touch and we'll be happy to help you. And also, can I just say, Karina, thanks for joining us. I'm really looking forward to hearing about what you've got to say today. Back to you, Becca.
Thank you. So, of course, we're going to head straight over to Karina. We want to dive in. We're really excited for this session. I'm sure as you all are as well. But if you do have any questions, please put them in the comments. It's going to be a very interactive session. Karina can answer as many questions as we can throughout, and there will be a little Q&A at the end as well. So, yeah, let's go. Over to you, Karina.
Thank you so much. So as Becca said, I am Karina. I am the founder of Girl About Social, which is a social media and marketing agency, which I launched in 2020. A little bit of background about myself. I've worked in marketing for the last 10 years now, across multiple different industries, from public, private. I've done healthcare, education. It's been amazing. I think one of the favorite things I really enjoy about being a contractor is the fact that I get to work with so many different industries. The girls obviously asked me to join today to talk all about LinkedIn. I personally find it one of the hardest channels to post on because of that dreaded imposter syndrome. It's coming across as a professional social media network. So trying to post correctly, but also to try to show your brand, to show your voice, to show your personality can be sometimes quite difficult. So what I have done over the last 3 years have created what I like to call the SASSY strategy of how to up your social media game. So what we're going to do over the next half an hour to 45 minutes is to talk all about the 5 simple steps to help you to feel sassy and confident while posting online. We're just going to move over to the first slide, which is hearing from you guys. What I like to do at the beginning is always ask what you would like to learn from this masterclass. So I'd love if you could just pop in the comments the one thing that you would like to take away from today, and I'm going to hopefully ensure that I can answer your questions as we go throughout.
I've got something, Karina.
Good, I love this. What's your question?
How would I be able to grow my network on LinkedIn and increase my LinkedIn visibility?
That is a very good question, actually. We're definitely going to delve into that and talk more about that throughout. But I would say straight off the bat that the best way to increase that is all about your engagement. So actually how often that you're posting, how often that you're actually engaging with people on your network. I would say a lot of people always think about it as like, okay, am I posting once or twice a day? Once or twice a week, once or twice a month. But actually, how often are you talking to people? The best way I would say to break that down is when you go to a party, you don't just walk in and start talking about yourself. You actually have conversations. So that is probably the best way that you can do it. But we'll go into a bit more detail throughout. So hopefully I can answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Has anyone else got anything that they would like to learn from this? I don't know, Becca, is there anything in the comments? If not, we can.
We're not going to think, but Danny is super excited for this, so I think it's probably best to get diving in.
So I'm going to start off by talking about some of the myths that you hear about social, and also talking about the positives and the reason why you're here today. So firstly, people buy from people. So the reason why it is so important to have a strong social media channel, to have a strong view or presence online, is because people want to buy from you. Now, obviously, I'm assuming a lot of us in the call today are actually marketeers. So we know that off the bat that is how we get, our clients, or we get the companies that we're working for their audience to buy from us. But actually, people are buying from you. And what I mean by that, if you are looking for a job, is that the recruiters, the hiring managers are buying from you. They want to engage with you. They want you to become part of their team. So it's so important to have that strong presence. It's your time to shine as a thought leader. All of us are thought leaders. It doesn't mean that just because you haven't got X amount of followers or X amount of views on your video, you are marketeers, you're professionals, you know what you're talking about. And this is your time, place to share online why people should work with you, hire you, want you to be part of their team. Always important to be authentic and to be yourself. You don't need to create a completely different persona. Even Beyonce obviously has Sasha Fierce, but she is still the one person. So kind of keeping up that authenticity and being yourself is so important. And lastly, I would say the most important thing is to stay consistent and to stay social. Like we said, you don't just go to a party and start talking at people, you start talking to people. And that's what we want to come across on social media. So that's what we're going to break down today. As mentioned, I created the Sassy Secret back in 2020 when I had clients coming to me and asking me, how do I get the most from my channels? So I wanted to create something that is really clear, really simple, and hopefully really catchy that people can remember. So the Sassy Secret is broken down into 5 separate categories. The first one is your social profile. So how automatically you're connected with your audience from the moment that they click on that profile. We're then going to move over to audit, so reviewing and revamping your current content to make sure that you're getting the most out of it and getting the most engagement from it from people that follow you. The second S is strategy, so that's all about don't just spray and pray. It's not just about posting for the sake of it, like basically throwing pasta at the wall and hoping it sticks. You want to make sure that what you're posting is actually gaining a benefit and people are engaging with it. The last S is schedule. It is so important to have a plan. During this phase, I'm going to talk about little tips and tricks that I use to schedule, because I appreciate we're all extremely busy, and spending time, not only are you probably scheduling for your, for your clients or for the company that you work for, but trying to schedule your own content can be quite frustrating. So I want to share some information in there of how we break that down. And finally, it's all about you. You have to make this work for you. There is not a one set plan. What I'm going to share today is my ideas of how you can make it work, but you might find something that works better for you, and that is okay. And that's what we want about social, because it's all about you and your LinkedIn profile. So We're going to get stuck in. So the first thing is all about the first S, which is your social media profile. So right now, does your profile stop the scroll? And what I mean by that is actually looking at the fundamentally the important aspects of your profile. So as you can see at the top, it's all about having your LinkedIn banner. It's just a really fun way to add a little bit of personality to your LinkedIn profile. When we all start with LinkedIn, we have the kind of the really classic blue one, but with that, you can have some fun. So I've created a really simple one in pink, which is obviously my favorite color, which you probably realized already throughout this presentation, and added in some really fun emojis that kind of basically show the stuff that I do as a social media and marketing manager. Really important, really simple. You can create that on Canva. You don't have to even talk about it doesn't have to be overly complicated. You haven't got to pay for it. It's a really, really good, fun and easy tool. The next part is actually looking at your profile photo. You want something that is clear and super engaging. An easy way to describe it is don't have a photo that looks like it was taken on a potato. So it doesn't need to be fuzzy. You don't want it to be too zoomed in where people can't see you. This is a way that people want to embrace and engage with you. So anything that's like, just really lovely, clear, you smiling, looking engaging is really, really important. The next part that you can see on there is your, I guess, like, for the sake of this, we'll call it like your LinkedIn title. So this is actually explaining who you are. So what do you do? You've probably seen on LinkedIn, some people have some really funny ones, but at the same time, having something clear that explains what you do. And as obviously one of the questions we had today was, how to create that standout headline. So that's it. Having something clear and exciting to put on there is really, really important. I've actually got here that you can probably see is I've got talks about B2B marketing, B2C marketing, content marketing. I've actually set mine up as a creator profile on LinkedIn. So actually it almost draws in and tells the audience the types of content that I talk about a lot. But of course, in this section, you can even just keep it short and sweet with a quick summary of who you are and what you do. But obviously, you don't have many words or many lines on there. So kind of keeping it quick, simple, and easy is really important on there. And lastly, my most important but favorite part of the profile is your contact information. I was chatting to the girls earlier, and we were saying that when I do these presentations, especially to sales groups, that's the one thing that I always get people to check. Because when you first start opening your profile, you probably launched your LinkedIn many, many years ago. And often you can see in that contact information the wrong email address. And I have had it before where people have got like sexykitten69 at hotmail.co.uk, which isn't great at all.
I am definitely guilty of that myself.
Oh, really?
When I my LinkedIn up, it was obviously years and years ago. And about, I don't know, a few years ago, I just double checked my email address on there, and it was crazyladylee@hotmail.com.
See, this is the thing, because it's one thing that you don't see all the time, but actually when people want to engage with you, that's exactly what they see.
Yeah. So I had to check that quick.
I was going to say, no longer crazy, but that's what I mean. It's so important. It's something that is so easy to forget as well, because obviously you're like, well, I've set it up, I don't really think about it. So definitely check your contact information to make sure that you're not the crazy lady Lee, that you've got the right email address, and you've also got your mobile number on there as well. I guess you guys, you probably had this before where, you're trying to connect with a consultant or with a candidate, and you can't actually find their details, and you're like, I just need to ring them, I need to email them. So make sure you've got the right and the clear information on there. So important. What we're going to do is we're moving further down on the profile, and for anybody that is watching maybe on their computer, please feel free to obviously get your phones out and have a scroll through, because sometimes I find it easier to understand each section when I'm actually looking at it in front of me. But we've actually got the featured section, which obviously, Becca, another question that's come through is how to make it more engaging and more informative. I would say these are the two most important parts, apart from the contact information, about your profile, because this is what makes it unique to you. So the featured section is a section that it's like Instagram highlights. So this is the section where you can add in bits that you want people to see straight away. So anytime that I'm doing a masterclass, or if I have written an article or something, I always add it into this section. If you're looking for a new role, then again, use this as a way to highlight what and why you're so amazing and why somebody should work with you. You can add as many as you want onto there. It turns into a carousel. You can remove bits if you think, actually, I want to add something else in there, but definitely utilize this tool. The way that you utilize it is once you've posted on LinkedIn, if you click the 3 dots to the right of your post, it then says add to profile. It's that simple. Really, really easy, but also really important. We've also got the about section itself. Now, the about section is basically an increased version of what you write as that quick summary on your CV. And again, have fun with this. Talk about who you are, why someone should work with you, but make it engaging. Use emojis as well. That's a really great way for it to stand out. And also as well, add your contact information into there, just in case someone doesn't see it at the top and they're scrolling through their profile. Make it easy to be connected with. So add your email address in, add your mobile number in, website if you've got a link to your portfolio. But yeah, have fun with that with that section, and we'll deep delve into that a little bit further on as well. But before we move on, does anybody have any questions about the social profile? Anything that they wanted to kind of delve into further? Let me know. Girls, have you got anything from your side? Or hopefully I've answered it quite clearly.
How many featured posts do you think that there should be on somebody's profile?
Oh, do you know what? I don't think the number exists. I think you can have. I actually post anytime I've done something that I'm proud of, I will add to that feature section, because the way that I see it is, if someone is only going to have a couple of minutes on your profile, them just scrolling through, they can actually see a timeline of all your great achievements. So I don't think, you can have, if you've only got 2, then 2 is great, but have like fun with it and add it in. But it's any time that you're proud of something, why not add it in there? It's almost like they're your medals.
Yeah. And I think, Karina, that links onto a question we've had here. So can you feature an older post or only do it while posting? And obviously the answer is yes.
Yes, you can. Yes, if you go back onto your older posts and add them on there. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it actually then adds it in numerical order, so that it actually adds it as a lovely timeline journey. But they did change that around a couple of times. But yeah, add them all in. Just use it as a time to think, right, if someone's only giving me my profile for 5 minutes, what are the 10 things that I want them to see? And add those straight to your featured section. There's another question there that I can see. Can you tell me a bit more about the personal summary? Which again is a really good question. So the personal summary is, again, almost literally summarizing who you are and what you can do for a business or for a client, or the benefits of the reason why someone should work with you. So sometimes a way that I would recommend to have it written is ask a friend or ask a family member. I find it quite hard to talk about how great we are, so we kind of downplay it. So a way to do it is, I actually got my friend, I was very lucky, she is also a copywriter, but my friend wrote mine for me, and actually she wrote more than what I would write. But you just want it to really sell yourself. The reason why someone's on your LinkedIn profile is because they want to know more about you. So tell them everything, the reasons what you're great at, even if you want to share some of your interests as well. And you can have a lot of fun with it. If you have a look around, there is some really great profiles. An example actually is, my boyfriend's a data analyst, and the way that he's written his summary is actually like in code, but it looks really good. And he actually got that inspiration from someone that he saw on there. So you can have a lot of fun with them, but it makes you unique and it makes you stand out. So hopefully that answers those questions. But yes, anyone else got any other ones, or we can probably...
That's it. Yeah, for now.
Amazing. Perfect. So we're now going to go on to the A, which is audit as part of the Sassy Secret. And this is all about reviewing and revamping your content. Now, I actually find that this is one of the hardest parts of creating content, because no one likes going back and looking at other stuff. It's kind of a little bit dull, it's a bit boring, a bit time consuming. So I was thinking of ways that I could share with you the easiest way to do it. And again, connect and work with people within your network. So one way that I do it is when I'm about to post something, not every single time, but if it's quite a bigger post, I actually ask a friend or a family member to read it to make sure it makes sense. And sometimes it's the most simple thing that I've forgotten or didn't add in that can completely change and transform one post. So it doesn't always have to be that you're sat there looking, and like, okay, what got the most engagement, what didn't get that, but actually asking somebody, does this make sense? All of my presentations have actually gone through like my mum or my boyfriend or my grandma, and actually sometimes they're like, oh, do you mean this? And I'm like, no, I don't mean it like that. Or they're like, oh, that's how I read it. And that is really, really important. Another way that you can do it, of course, is the traditional way, which is, having and been like, right, when I post about X, Y, and Z, that gets the most engagement. Therefore, I know my audience are interested in X, Y, and Z. Another way to actually understand it is, what do you enjoy making the most? Because some people might not like posting video, or some people might not like posting thought leadership pieces, or they might not want to create pieces. So it's actually, what do you enjoy the most as well? It's so important to understand what your audience is looking for. If, for instance, you're not a brand in the sense of, you're trying to sell your products, or if you're not a freelancer and you're looking to increase your LinkedIn presence because you're looking for a job. But again, maybe it's talking about things that are happening within the industry, or within the industry you want to work in. So if you know that you want to work within healthcare as like a marketeer, then actually, what am I posting that is engaging with those sorts of people? Because they're the hiring managers and the recruiters that recruit for that industry that are going to help me to find a job. That's kind of it in a nutshell, really.
Karina,
Yeah.
how often should we be auditing our LinkedIn?
Oh, good question. I say it completely depends on you, and depends on your time as well. Again, all of these things, it's easier said than done. It's almost like, when you see on Instagram where there's those people that do those get ready with me's, and they're like, who has the time to have a 15 plan steps in routine? It's like, I might do that once on a Sunday. So I think, do it as often as you can. If you've got time once a month, do it once a month. If you've got time every 3 months, do it every 3 months. There is no rule to it, but I think it's important to always go back and see how you can improve and how you can build as well.
Okay, thank you.
I hope that helps. I probably do it maybe every 6 months, to be honest with you. Because I'm a bit like, that's when I've got time to do it. But yeah, there's no rule to it. If you want to do it every week, do it every week. But depends on your timing, really.
I think maybe quarterly.
Yes, yeah, honestly, it completely depends on you. But there is no set rule to it. It's just really good to go back and think about what you've done and how you can improve on it. That really helps. So yeah, we're now going to move on to strategy, which is the second S. And this is all about making your audience feel something. So every piece of content that you post out, every piece of content that you probably ever engage in yourself has made you feel a certain way. Back in 2007, BuzzFeed actually went through their own library of content, and they created something called the cultural cartography, which is the hardest thing to say. And basically what it is content can be broken down into 5 categories. So the first category is, this is funny. So literally that's memes, that's funny videos, that's any TikToker that's made you laugh. The reason why you've engaged in it is because it's made you laugh. The reason why you've shared it is because you find it funny. The second bit is, this is me. This is a piece of content that relates directly to you. You see it and automatically you're like, I need this in my life. Or, yeah, this is going to help me to get to X, Y, and Z. For instance, this LinkedIn live right now related to you, hence the reason why you're here today. Mm-hmm. The third is, this is us. This is a piece of content that would, for instance, if you have like mums be like, or, when your mum comes into your room, you're like, oh, that's how me and my mum are, or whatever it may be. A piece of content that you want to share with someone else because you both can relate to it together. The fourth is this helps me. This is educational content. This could be cooking content. Anytime anyone's seen a cooking video, this helps me to think about how I can make a healthier meal using chicken or using the air fryer or whatever it may be. But it's something that makes you relate to it and be like, I've gained something from this. And lastly, this makes me feel. So this is a piece of content that makes you feel a type of emotion. My best way to describe this could be PETA videos. So for instance, you see a piece of content that makes you do something to then take an action. That's the reason why you engage with that. And then you do something from there. So when you're about to post online, I would say always think about first, what do I want my audience to gain from this? The reason why I say that is it makes it easier to be like, is it posting for a reason? I'd love to know actually if anybody's on here now, what their types of content are. Girls, what would you say yours are actually for the one group?
I would say that ours are this is me or this helps me.
Definitely. Yes, definitely. Yeah, because everything that you're posting is hopefully helping your clients or helping your candidates to find a role or to secure a candidate. I would be the same actually. I would say that mine is usually this is me or this is us, depending on the company. If it's like, oh, you know, are you and your team? And this helps me as well. But yeah, I would say if anyone takes anything away from today, be this page. I just find it so much easier to like break up why I'm posting. And as marketers, we know that the biggest question anytime you do something is, but why? And this is your why. So there we go. Moving on, still within this section is all about the caption, which I get a lot of questions about. So this is something that I've recently added into these presentations. I would say that your captions need to be broken down into three. So the beginning is engaging the reader. It's basically, we probably all see them on LinkedIn where someone writes something controversial and then underneath it then says like the three dots and then you read more into it. But that's the reason why it works. You need that intro to engage people to want to click more. The middle section is sharing your information. What are you trying to explain? What are you trying to tell people? What are you trying to get across? And lastly, I would always recommend with finishing with a call to action. Now, your call to action doesn't always have to be check out my portfolio or check out my website. It could be something as simple as this one, for instance, which was to swipe through some extra photos. It could be asking people a question. What do you think to this? As well as obviously the traditional of sign up, look at this, click on this. I've just seen in the comments, actually, Grant's mentioned that his content sits in this is us and this helps me. So that's amazing, Grant. Really glad that hopefully that slide helped. But yeah, it's so important within a killer caption to have those three sections. I've just kind of shared a little example here of the same caption, but actually one where I haven't used white space as much, where I haven't tagged businesses, where I haven't actually used emojis, and then one where I have. And you can probably see the one where I have, your eye almost naturally engages where the emojis are, so I understand what I'm reading. Whereas the one on the other side is quite overwhelming. You're a bit like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. My eyes are kind of scanning through to try and pick out, you know, a key word or a key comment or a key phrase. And this is why it's so important to have a little bit of fun and add some spice, I guess, or some sass, I should say, really, to your very important. So, you know, have fun with fonts. If anyone wants to kind of bold bits or highlight bits or, you know, italics, use something called igfonts.io. It's a free platform to use. You can just do that really simply online. Use emojis. Emojis are a great way to just break up the text and have some, and also use them as bullet points as well. A question I get asked a lot is there any emojis that I can't use? Apart from the obvious, the answer is no, you're absolutely fine. And spacing as well. So, you know, use and don't be afraid of white space when you're posting, especially on LinkedIn, because you can post quite a chunky post. So don't be afraid of that white space. It's really easy to break up an essay and break up the text, but have fun with it and shine across your personality as well. Another question we get asked a lot is all about, okay, great that I know how to post on social, but actually what am I posting on social? Especially on LinkedIn. There's two ways that you can do it. Sorry, not my fit thumb there. There's two ways that you can do it. The first way is using a free app called Feedly, which is Feedly. Now, this app can be connected to your phone. You can use it on your iPad. You type in the industry that you're interested in, and then it actually shares with you on a daily basis articles based on that industry, which is really helpful if you're trying to think of, well, what's happening? What can I talk about? How do I come across with my views, especially if you want to work within a certain industry? Going back to the beginning, you want to be seen as a thought leader. It's a really simple way to do it without any effort whatsoever. Another way that you can do it is actually on LinkedIn. I've just taken a couple of screenshots. One is where the first one actually is on your desktop. So when you can actually search at the top, and you can actually search for posts, and actually then it comes across any person that's actually posted about the same industry. And this is what it looks like when you're doing the same, on your mobile. And what I mean by this is when you're actually thinking, well, I don't know what to say myself, but I want to see what other people are talking about. Well, you could comment, you can like, you can share their posts. That's still part of your engagement strategy. It's still part of the conversation. It hasn't got to be that you're posting every day, because let's face it, we all don't have something to say 5 to 7 days a week. But actually, if you've got a spare 5 minutes while you're making a cup of tea in the morning, have a look and see what someone else is talking about and comment on it. Add your own little 2 cents to it, which leads really nicely to posting with purpose. So you can do that where you're commenting on there, but of course you can share, and you can like as well. And one question I ask is, well, what's the difference? So sharing is basically you're recommending your audience to take an action. The same way now that if you see an amazing video on Instagram, you share it with a friend to tell them about it as well. That's what you're doing on LinkedIn. You're saying, I've seen this and I think everyone in my network would also be interested in it. It's drawing attention to something that you also think is really good. These are just some couple things that I have heard, but please don't take it as Bible. I have heard that reaches more people in your network than liking it. However, I can't tell you if that's completely true, but these are things that I have heard. And shared posts are more likely to be shared again. The same way that if you share something to a friend, they're more likely to be like, oh, I'll take action and I'll share that with my friend because you've told me something that is really beneficial. It's the same with liking. Again, these are just some things that I've heard that I just wanted to add in, that apparently there's a great impact on the post within the first hour of being live. But please do not panic if you don't get X amount of likes within a post. It's more visible on your mobile home screen apparently as well. And of course, the classic givers gain. If you like my post, I'll like yours in return. And that actually is the standard of I'm giving a compliment, you compliment me back. That's how we start talking. But what I do want to stress is please don't go out and just keep liking stuff to get likes back, because that's inauthentic. What it does mean is that when you do want to like something, that person is going to be like, oh, that's really lovely, I'm going to do the same back to you. So I hope that helps. I appreciate I do talk very fast, so if anyone's not clear on anything or has any questions, please do add it to the comments.
I think on that quickly, Karina, as well, I think talking about obviously like interacting with other people, I try and say to our consultants here that sometimes that's just as important as putting content out yourself, because it's still building your brand and kind of showing off your personality as well. So,
completely. I think, if not, LinkedIn or any social channel will then still become really one-sided because you're just talking at people. Like you said, and I think, like I said, like going to a party, you don't just go in and start talking at everyone. You kind of, what do you do? Oh, that's amazing. And then you kind of interact it into a conversation. Social media is just an online conversation. So it's not just, I'm great. You're like, no one asked. Like, I would like to know more about you. And that's why it's so important. So actually, we're going to move on now to your feed aesthetic. So when we think of a feed aesthetic, we always think of Instagram and how your Instagram looks. And obviously over time that has changed and people aren't as like consistent with their, what it looks like and the colors and everything like that. But there's one thing that will always be consistent is what your branding looks like. And this is just a little print screen of what my Instagram looks like, where I'm a massive fan of the color pink. It's something that I wear. It's something that I have in my daily life. So everything that I use, I always incorporate the pink in there. But what it does mean is that when I do post, hopefully, if you automatically, your mind's like, oh, I know that's going to be a post from Karina. The same way that if you see those golden arches, you automatically know it's going to be McDonald's. Even if the feed, it was fuzzy, you automatically know that's going to be a McDonald's post. And what I mean by creating your brand colors, I would recommend finding 4. So even though you're not a brand in the sense of you could be a business, but you're a brand of yourself. So finding 4 colors that you're going to use when you're posting online just helps you to think of yourself as part of like a bigger entity. So you can obviously find your brand colors really simply on Canva. Obviously, then you can see the color and then you can see the code. And then what it means is when you're posting, you're always using these colors. If you're presenting, you're always using these colors. And over time, you're starting to build your own aesthetic. So when you do post out there, people will start to recognize that this is where it's from. I wouldn't say picking any more than 4 colors, but of course, again, if you want 6, have 6. I find 4 just a lot easier because you've got your primary and then you've got your secondary colors as well, as you all know, as we're all marketeers. So it's all quite simple for us to use. So just a kind of summary, because I know that was quite a lot of stuff that we were talking about there. It's so important to post with purpose. Find and stick to your color palette. Edit your photos based on those pictures. Find locations and backgrounds that match with that color scheme. Always use high quality imagery as well. Don't be afraid to just comment. You don't have to feel that you're posting out every day. Liking and engaging and commenting and sharing is just as important as posting as well. Before we move on, does anyone have any other questions before we get to the final bits?
I have a question actually, Karina. What advice would you recommend people when trying to find their color palette?
So I would say focus. I read this in a book, actually from an interior designer, actually, and she always said to find your colors for your house is to go to your wardrobe. So the colors that you wear every day are clearly the colors that you're comfortable with because you wear it without thinking. So that can be an easy way to start with finding that your brand colors, because you're not then going to hate it in a month's time because you're like, I never liked blue. Why have I picked blue? So I would say go straight to your wardrobe and have a look at the colors that you wear on a regular basis. Of course, if you're working within a certain industry, there are certain colors that represent that. So if you're outside, then obviously green. If you're healthcare, then blue. But yeah, go to your wardrobe and or look around your house right now. They're probably the colors that you love the most because they're the ones that you buy pieces in all the time. So yeah,
Love
that's
that.
how I would do it. An easy way to do it. So we're now coming on to schedule. So schedule is all about maximizing your sales and your engagement. I know that this section I have always had in the past where people find it the most overwhelming because they're like, well, I don't have time to schedule. Scheduling is just basically having a plan. It doesn't mean that you need to go out and invest in HubSpot or I don't know, Adobe Scheduler or any of these things. All it means is that next Tuesday at 3 p.m. you are going to post a picture and a caption. I will admit I do not schedule any of my content on any type of scheduler. I don't use an Excel spreadsheet. I literally use my phone. So I write the caption in my notes. I save the image, whether it's from Canva or it's a photo, or it's a reel, it's downloaded in my photo gallery, and I set myself a reminder at 3 p.m. on Wednesday to post. It's literally that simple. But it is so important to do that because every single day, life is busy, things happen, and you're going to forget. And next thing you know, you've not posted for 3 weeks. You're going to get annoyed at yourself. Then you're going to be like, oh, what's the point? I won't bother. But actually, having that simple way to do it, you never forget it. Or if you've got to push it back because you've been asked to go into a meeting, it's fine. I'll do it at 4. But it's that easy. And you've got it done then. You're not procrastinating to be like, what am I posting about? What am I saying? What does the caption look like? It's all done and it's all really simple for you. The reason why I say this as well is because if you've got things that you want to talk about, you can actually post with meaning. So going back to that 5 categories of content, is actually there's a reason why I'm posting. So if you want to talk about, for instance, International Women's Day, or if you want to talk about something's happening at Christmas time, but actually you're posting about something for a reason. But it's really that simple. Of course, if you want to use an Excel spreadsheet, if you want to buy one of the schedulers, then that's absolutely fine. But don't feel that you can't schedule because you don't have that. It's just a matter of knowing what your plan is and having a diary and popping it in there. Any questions from anybody?
Oh, we got a lovely comment from Grant.
Oh, thank you, Grant. I'm so glad you're finding it helpful. It's so glad. Any other questions about scheduling? Becca, Leanne, anything from you guys, or are you quite happy with these ones?
Happy with these ones, Karina.
Wow.
We do use the scheduling tool.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense too. And most, if you're working for bigger brands, then for my clients, I schedule, but for myself, I don't. So
yeah, definitely from like a big brand perspective, scheduling tool we find really helpful, obviously, because we keep an eye on when content's going out. But yeah, I suppose from a personal point, yeah, for me, it's a lot of not always reactive, but most of the content that I do is quite reactive. Like on the day, I'm suddenly doing this, or I'll have something where I'm like, right, I'll post this a bit later on. But like you say, it's literally just having it in your notes in your gallery, ready to go. And when I feel like posting it, out it goes.
exactly. And sometimes, you know, your best ideas may come at a time when you don't actually want to post it. So if you're having a shower and you think about something, you're like, oh, I can post that out on Wednesday. And what actually helps me, like what you've just said, Becca, is if I'm going somewhere, I actually start to think about the content. So like when we met at the marketing meetup, I already had in my head, oh, I'll get my friend to take a photo of me and then I'll get a caption. And I actually wrote the caption before, because I knew I was going to post it. So then suddenly I was like, oh, I remembered I want to post.
That's it.
Yeah, really, really important.
Sometimes you can plan ahead, and sometimes it's just a spur in the moment and go, oh yeah, that would be great.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That's such a great way to look at it. Definitely. So we're coming to the end actually now. And why is all about you. Social media is all about playing by your rules. Everything that I've gone through today is not like infinite. If you want to change something, if you want to add something, that's absolutely fine. Social media was created to have fun and to be social. And that's what I really try when I do these presentations to bring back to people, is to remove the pressure and have fun with it. It doesn't matter. If you don't post for a week, the sky is not going to fall in. You're absolutely fine. What you can do is just make sure that you engage a little bit more and you post the next week. So don't think and don't be hard on yourself, because life happens outside of our computers and our phones, believe it or not. So things happen and it doesn't matter. But the main thing is when you are posting, that you are having fun with it and you're actually enjoying it. I'm really, hopefully everyone finds this helpful today. But like I say, engage, share, play by your rules, stay consistent, stay social, be authentic, but most importantly, be yourself.
I think leading on from that, we've just had a comment here saying, obviously, so Deborah would like to connect to see how you can help her team get over imposter syndrome on LinkedIn. But I guess like that, isn't it? It is about being yourself and just being consistent. And we've had Dan as well, who said, how do you manage the balance between personal and professional posts?
I don't think there is a need for a balance, to be honest with you, Danielle. I think if you've had a big week or month and there's loads of business stuff that's happening, post away. If you've had another week and actually more personal stuff has happened that you want to share on there, then post away. I think it's definitely based on your life and what's happening. I will put my hands up. I have been very busy with 2 big clients for the last year. So a lot of the stuff that I've posted, I haven't posted as much as I'd posted the year before, but that doesn't stop me from not engaging on LinkedIn. I just actually don't have anything to say. And that doesn't mean, again, like I've completely lost like followers, like if anything, far from it, because when I do post, I'm posting with a meaning. So just literally take it as what you're doing today, what you're going to do next week, and have fun with it. But it's like life. You can have really busy work days, you can have really busy personal days. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah, we've had Grant here as well. So he said his LinkedIn helps focus on helping international students tell stories about the highs, lows, and everything in between landing skilled jobs in the UK. Is this right, or should I stick to just my personal brand? But again, I think it's about getting that balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think the fact that what you're using your LinkedIn on and is telling stories means it's already extremely personal. And I'm assuming actually what you mean by sticking to your personal brand is actually mixing in your own stories. But if your LinkedIn is to drive people to connect with you because they also want your support, then actually sharing maybe your own journey or how you've helped someone else is kind of mixing in the personal and the professional, because they both link in quite nicely. But again, there is no right or wrong to it. If, for instance, you wanted to use a different channel, so you could then use TikTok or you could use Instagram to connect with other people as well, then and have fun with it. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. And I know that a lot of people probably would prefer to know that it's a set thing, but it isn't. And anyone that tells you is it's not true. It doesn't matter. We unfortunately we don't get told from LinkedIn what they want.
And it's always changing as well. We
Behind.
struggle to keep up as marketers.
So we don't get told anything. That's why when people say about don't trust the algorithm, it's like no one knows what the algorithm is.
No.
It's basically just to make sure that you get the most content. So don't worry.
Cool.
Lastly, the thing that I love to ask, for anybody that would like to add it into the comments, is what's the number one thing that you are going to do in the next 3 days to level up your social media? So by the weekend, what's the one thing that you're going to do? Leanne, Becca, I'd love what everyone adds in. What are the one thing that you're going to do on yours?
The one thing that I'm going to do on mine is add some featured posts.
Oh, nice. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Becca, anything from you?
I think my profile, so my summary, could definitely do a bit of a refresh. I've left it for a couple of years now, so I have definitely got plenty of emojis in there. But yeah, just a bit of a refresh now we're a few years in.
I like that. I like that. I think anyone in the comments want to share what theirs would be if they're going to hopefully take one thing away?
I also have a question, Karina, about the profile picture. Before I started here at the One Group, my profile picture was quite an old picture that I really liked at a work event. So it was quite professional, but it was old.
Yeah.
What do you think about profile pictures? Can they be old as long as they're professional? Should you update them regularly?
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about that actually. I guess if you have an update, if you like a photo of yourself, then keep the photo. You're going to still look the same. So yeah, I think as long as it looks clear and it's concise and it's really, like you're looking open and friendly, then keep it. I mean, I've had that photo on mine for the past 3 years and I have no plan of changing it anytime soon because my hair's not as long anymore, but that's the only thing that's kind of changed from it. But I just think as long as it's a really open, lovely, warm photo of you, then keep the photo.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got some comments coming in now. So we've got review the bio, think of a shorter blurb about their experience,
That's
refresh
nice.
my page.
Oh, lovely.
There. So yeah, that's good.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I know that people didn't actually add too many questions at the beginning. So if anyone's got any more questions, I know we've got probably about sort of 10, 15 minutes. So please do let me know if you've got any other questions. But yeah, over to you, Becca.
Yeah, so I think in the meantime, whilst people are busy thinking of their questions, just to give a little wrap up. So obviously, again, this was our first LinkedIn Live today. So it's been really great. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in and attended. And thank you for interacting with us as well. Obviously, big thank you to Karina. Thank you for obviously being our first expert guest and your time today. And obviously a big shout out to the marketing meetup in Northampton. The One Group, we are sponsors of them. It's a really great event. Again, it's where we met Karina. So as a marketing, working in the marketing profession, you're going to meet so many different experts. And it's just really nice to just be in a room where everyone does the same job as you and knows how you feel in marketing. And we can just really express that and talk to one another about our ideas and obviously meet great guest speakers as well and learn about new topics. Again, thank you, everyone. Please check out our other events. We've got a couple more LinkedIn Lives coming your way. So head over to our LinkedIn page to take a look. And as always, this session will be recorded so you can have a look back. And lastly, which I'll just display for you guys. So Karina has shared a QR code here. So if you scan that, it's basically a checklist from everything today to keep a remembrance of what we've learned. And obviously then you can tick that off as you're going through your LinkedIn and building that personal brand. But yeah, I don't think we've got any questions. Karina,
have I got time for one last question?
Yes, of course. Go on. Yes.
Okay. Hot topic at the moment is Chat GPT.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Karina, on using this, for content creation or caption writing and everything LinkedIn? Should we, shouldn't we?
I am a massive fan of ChatGPT. I find it really helpful, especially if you're trying to post about something or you know what you're trying to say, but it might not be coming across the same way. So I'm a massive advocate for it. I know some people aren't, but I love it, and it really helps me with content creation. Especially if I can put in, you know, I want to help with this sort of post, or I need ideas about this. So definitely for anyone that is looking to start with their content creation journey, it's a really great tool, I think, to just to give you inspiration. You don't always have to copy directly from it, but I actually used it the other day, and it gave me an idea for something that I hadn't even thought about, and then I actually could go off and make a reel. And I was like, I never would have thought of that if I didn't put it in. And definitely for writing captions, because it just adds a bit more to it, especially when you're like, what am I saying?
I know what I'm going to say, but it's not coming out right.
Oh, so yeah,
Leanne actually call it our like marketing assistant.
Yeah, we do.
I'm a massive fan. Love it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's part of the team now.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's it for today, guys. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Karina, thank you so much for giving us that amazing presentation on how to up our social game on LinkedIn. And I hope everyone comes again soon. So thank you both. See you later.
Thanks, Karina. Bye.
Bye.